Hello and good afternoon to our three EuroPeers, all from different eras of the network. So my name is Olga, and I'm the project manager for EuroPeers UK, which is a network for young people who have done international projects under Erasmus Plus and under European Solidarity Corps, which are both programs for young people by the EU. We have with us today Nadia, Ruma, and Jack, who all have been part of, yes, you can wave, please, yes. It's great for the radio to wave as well, isn't it?
You can edit that.
Who have been part of our network and who have been obviously participants on a number of different projects. But first things first, I'm going to ask you to briefly introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Nadia. So I did volunteer work with EuroPeers and I've been involved in some of their projects, and I'm based in North London.
Hi everyone, I'm Ruma. I am currently based in London. I don't know why I'm saying currently. I've pretty much been in London my whole life. So yeah, London it is. I help run different projects with the help of Momentum World within my community.
Hi, I'm Jack from Rotherham. I'm on the executive committee, the executive member for partnerships and such. I also look to sort of run events and stuff similar to Ruma.
Guys, what is your connection to EuroPeers, and when was the first time you've heard of the EuroPeers network?
So I first heard of EuroPeers. I did a sort of conference based in London, and it had one under Erasmus Plus, an international one called Future Europe, Future You. I went, and that was my first sort of proper Erasmus Plus experience, and I absolutely loved it. And I said, what more can I do? And they said, oh, there's this thing called EuroPeers. I'm like, oh, well, when can I get involved? And like, oh, next weekend.
How about you, Ruma? How did you first get involved with EuroPeers?
I first heard about EuroPeers through a program that I was doing. It was an Erasmus Plus program called Scribus Hive European Program. And yeah, during the course of that program, I met Olga and I met the team from Momentum World, and they told me about the training I could do through them and all the exciting projects that I can get involved with afterwards. So I was super excited, and a few months after that, I signed up to my first training through them.
So I did a training course. It was about 2 weeks in Bosnia and Herzegovina, sorry for the pronunciation. And over there, I asked the project manager if there's any other networks in Europe, and they told me that there's one in the UK. So when I returned to the UK, I researched online to find out EuroPeers, and I was introduced to Olga, emailed her because I really wanted to get involved, and I loved what they were doing.
Yeah, I invited you guys here today so that we can gather all your experiences and get you to speak about them, because the audience of Chaos TV is quite curious about, first of all, how to get involved, and mostly how to, connect with the network, and also just hear your stories, because it's such a diverse range of experiences you've had with the Erasmus Plus program. And even though the UK has chosen to leave the EU, programs, approved as part of the cycle will still take place, and you can still get involved in multiple different ways. And obviously EuroPeers, being the international network for young people in the UK, will want to involve young people from all across the UK, obviously including Cornwall and all the other places. And we want to keep activities running and keep activities going. And young people such as yourselves are great examples of how that can be done. What is your biggest takeaway from your participation in an Erasmus Plus program? And let's start with Ruma this time.
I've actually learned quite a lot during my experience working in different projects. But if I had to pick one big lesson that I've learned, I would say it's to have clarity in what it is that I want to achieve. Have clarity in all my goals, and be flexible as well. So when things don't work out or go the way that I want, not to be closed-minded, but to look for other opportunities where I can keep growing my ideas, and allowing changes to take place naturally as well, and not being so fixated if something doesn't go according to plan. I think it's taken me a long time, but I realized that things happen more smoothly when I let them happen authentically.
I think for me, it's mainly that I've learned so much through non-formal education. I feel that when we went to secondary school, college, university, you're taught certain principles, you need to apply this. theoretical kind of principles, and that's the way it is, and that's how you need to do it. And I feel for me that I've learned so much from just traveling and living in another country and meeting other young people, because I feel when I left college before I went to university, I didn't know what I wanted to do. So after I finished my first degree and I did a European voluntary service in Germany. I lived there for about 1 year, and I was working at international kindergarten and also with the Red Cross office in between Germany and the UK. For me, I learned so much about, you know, the German culture and also the volunteering side of things. And then also returning back to the UK and learning what they do in the UK, I've learned that there are so many young people who don't know what they want to do. And I would say that they should utilize like the gap year. Either if they don't know what they want to do, they should either do a gap year, see how they feel. You know, they can do like an apprenticeship. University is not the only way. If you want to do it, go for it. So for me, I felt like there's much more opportunities out there for young people. And that's been, I think that's been the main thing, that there is so much more to life than just being in one place. And it's only through international volunteering that has taught me this, because before that I thought, no, it's just university, get a job, and that's it. And there's so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. Erasmus Plus is one of those things that really shows you that there are other ways to arrive at the point where you would like to be in your personal life and your professional life. And it kind of enhances the whole point of doing an opportunity under Erasmus Plus is to find your way, you know, to meet other people and get a fuller picture as to who you are as a person, and, you know, possibly identify your future career path. So thank you for sharing that. How about you, Jack?
Sort of how easy it is to sort of bond with people across other cultures. I never sort of, like, when I was going abroad originally, I found it sort of very daunting going to a place where I don't know the language, you know, people, and, you know, these people spoke, you know, 3, 4, 5 languages. Some of the young people I've met, and obviously I only speak one, so I did find it quite daunting going to a country where I didn't know anyone, to sort of meet, you know, 20 new young people and who all spoke different languages. It was very sort of daunting for me, but by the end of a week I was speaking to them like I'd known them years. It was really interesting to see how easy it was just to get along with people, and yeah, it just amazed me that, you know, I grew so quickly.
That's one of the main points of doing an Erasmus Plus exchange. And
of course, I think it really does change you, and as you get closer to these people and you learn more about their cultures and their countries, I think it really does open your eyes as to sort of a more global view of the world. And I think once you sort of appreciate the world more, and, you know, that it's not just one country, I think it does start opening your eyes to other opportunities, not just in other countries, but also the way you think about the opportunities you have at home as well.
Yeah.
I think this is something that, Ruma, you can sort of identify with, because you've taken part in a number of opportunities based here in the UK, which kind of goes to show that, you know, if you're feeling a little bit apprehensive about doing your first international experience, you know, you can start with something small or something smaller that's based in your home country, in your own environment. You know, it might be in a different town, it might be in a different region, but there are opportunities out there that you can get involved in, also with Momentum World, and also with other organizations who are beneficiaries of Erasmus Plus. You know, you can go on a project in your own community or closer to your community. Why do you think young people in the UK are kind of intimidated about this whole idea of traveling? And we're going to start with Nadia.
Number one, if you haven't been exposed to living on your own. So for example, for me, when I moved to Germany, I had not lived on my own. I lived with my family. So that was very daunting. And also, who do you turn to? So I think a lot of people worry about that, about family and friends, and also funding as well, because I was actually quite surprised that when I did my European voluntary service, that it was funded. And that's another thing that stops a lot of people because of finances. You think, how am I going to look after myself, you know, in terms of payment? So that was two of the main things, family and friends, and also funding. So I think for young people, especially, they're thinking, I don't have that money. Because even when I speak to, like, even my younger brother, I ask him, well, why didn't you travel? No, I don't have the money for it. And how can I live somewhere that I don't know anyone? So these are the two things, I think, probably finances and also family and friends. And you can't really blame people, especially if it's going to be your first time doing it. So that's the reluctance on young people.
I think young people have a lot of stresses on their a lot of stresses to deal with. They're, you know, going to university or doing their A levels. Maybe some of them are having to work in order to pay some bills, and they might have responsibilities at home as well. They might be caregivers, and to leave all their responsibilities and go abroad to do a project might be something that can be quite difficult to arrange without having the right support put in place. Personally, I've noticed amongst my own companions that the ones that do fly away from home, they're the ones that have less responsibilities than the ones that do have responsibilities, because they can't just drop that and walk away. Another thing that came to my mind was trust. A lot of us tend to find information online, but we tend to trust what people say to us rather than what we find online. And even if we trusted what we find online, it takes a big step for us to then pick up the phone and make a phone call to someone or to send an email. That can be quite scary. But once you've done it and once you start communicating with someone to find out more, then it becomes less daunting. But it can take a bit of an effort to make that first step. And then even if you made that step and you started communicating with someone, there's no guarantee that that person's going to continue communicating with you and giving you all the correct information you need and the support. I guess I was lucky because I had Olga in my life, but not everyone's guaranteed to have someone like Olga who's so efficient and who like chases you up and then ensures you have all the information you need. So there are going to be some young people out there who, even if they make the effort to reach out, they might not get the information and support that they need immediately to then carry on taking action.
I think we're probably a bit more disconnected. Like, I think the average young Brit might feel a bit more disconnected to the European mainland than people that, you know, live in the European live there, obviously, sort of between country to country. So I think it's daunting that the culture might be too different, which, like I say, from personal experience, you get there and you do just get along with people. I think people worry that it's going to be too much of a change, which really isn't the case. I think people worry that they're going to get there and that, you know, that no one's going to speak English and you're not going to be able to talk to anyone because no one's going to speak the same language as you. You're going to struggle discussing stuff with people, making friends and stuff. But like I say, it really is so easy to get along with people, and you always find people who will speak English, and, you know, especially what of the settings that you go to, there'll be people that will be keen to get to know you and to introduce you to the culture in the country and get you involved in life.
What made you guys say yes to the very first opportunity? What was that definitive factor that made you think, you know what, I'm going to do it?
After my degree, I was tired of academia and I just needed to do something. And I think from childhood anyways, I've always wanted to travel. I don't know why. And when I did tell my parents that I had applied for to go and live in Germany, they were, no, you're not going. And I said, yes, I am going. So for me, I think that I just wanted change. I needed a change of scenery. I needed to be able to spend time with myself. I wanted to be able to know and to be able to see what other options are out there for me, and if the career field I wanted to go into, is that really for me? And I feel like when I went to Germany, lived there for a year and returned, that I do have clarity. So I think for me, it's now or never. It might sound cliche, but really and truly, it's my life, and it's better that I make decisions for myself. And since then, my parents are always like, oh, you know, you're always traveling, and, you know, oh, I would love to, you know, one day come with you. And this is coming from like my parents who would never travel. Mm-hmm. So I think in itself is also encouraged my brothers also to want to travel, because they're like, no, why do I need to leave?
So basically, not only have you traveled, but your family members got inspiration from that.
Yeah, which is very strange, especially for my mom and my dad. Yeah.
And then now they're also travelers, which is, you know, that sort of multiplier effect, if you will. You know, you've done something international that changed the course of your life, perhaps, and you're inspiring your immediate family to do the same, which is, you know, a great way to do that. Sometimes it's just about meeting the right person that's going to lead you to that opportunity. And in our work as EuroPeers, we find that we are these people that basically bring other young people not only in the UK, but also across Europe, closer together, and we tell them about projects that we have coming up, things that we have been involved in, and we, through our own sort of stories, we inspire them to consider doing a similar thing to ours, and you know, convincing them to join in and just, you know, giving it a go. Now, speaking of projects and a little bit about the year that we've all had, this is definitely going to be one of those years that, you know, if somebody asks you 15 years from now, what did you do in 2020? Likely you will be able to dig that memory out of your brain and tell them, oh, in 2020, actually, funny you should ask. You know, if someone younger, if someone who's, you know, born in 2020, in 15 years time asks you, right? Imagine that. So what was the whole thing about 2020? What happened there? What was it like for young people? How did you guys manage to survive the situation? You know, what would you tell them, you know, in terms of where young people are in 2020, and how did you actually manage to, or how you're managing still to survive the situation that we are all in?
Something that's helped me is having a structure. Mm-hmm. So when the lockdown happened, I was out of work. Like at first it was fine because I got to spend more time with my family, but it also then forced me to address the issues that I try so hard not to face. I think what got me through it is just having something put aside for me to do that day. And if I could achieve that one thing, then I felt like I was achieving and I was a winner for the day. And over time, my diary got packed with activities that I could do literally online. So I didn't have to leave my home, and I could not even have to wear my hijab. I could just turn my camera off, and I could be wearing whatever I wanted to, eat whatever I wanted to. I had that freedom that I hadn't had before. So it's nice just to be able to do all of that from the comfort of my bedroom. And I'm surprised by how much I've been able to achieve. I've signed up onto many different programs to continue developing myself. I've been working, volunteering online. I've been working on paid projects. And because I've been keeping busy, it also helped me to apply for work. Also, I've got to bring this in, having faith in that things are going to get better, and looking into my spiritual side and making sure I'm feeding my soul has helped me to like keep my head above the waters most of the time, especially when other people are trying to bring me down. I'm like, no, you can't touch me because I have faith, and you can take everything else away from me, but you can't take my faith away from me. And that's kind of been what I've been clinging on for most of my life, to be honest. And yeah, good things happen. It just takes time. But if you keep putting in the work and you keep trying to improve yourself and you keep connecting with people, eventually you'll see a door open for you. And say yes, like Olga said earlier on, just say yes. Even if you don't think you can do it, if you say yes, your brain is going to think, okay, I have to do this now. And subconsciously, you're going to start picking up ways to do that thing that you said yes to. But if you say no, then your brain won't even bother to look for ways for you to do that thing, because it's like, well, it's not, you haven't really given an order.
I mean, I think the structure that Ruma brought up is quite a big thing. I mean, because I've been working constantly through the Rona, as they call it. So it's given me quite a bit of structure. But I've also had to, you know, battle the sort of being boxed in, since I am, you know, wake up in my bed, sit at my desk to work, sit at my desk to play PS4. So it's just been sort of about trying to occupy myself with other things. So I'm currently sat not in my room, just been trying to leave my room as much as possible. Sort of getting outdoors, going on walks, trying to sort of develop skills and such. So I've been trying to sort of touch up my first aid skills recently, trying to go caving and stuff, trying to learn a few sort of survival skills and stuff. Hopefully I never need them, but it's interesting to do and it keeps me away from work. So yeah, it's just sort of been trying to keep myself busy, trying to keep myself outdoors, and then just sort of hoping that when this is all over, that there are stuff that we can keep out, so we can catch the sort of back end of the last Erasmus Plus projects, hopefully. Try and get myself away and out of my bedroom.
I will circle back to Erasmus Plus, but I thought it was a very important question to ask you guys about, you know, resilience in the pandemic, and then how your past experiences on international projects help build that resilience, you know, and that overall, maybe, hopefully, you are in a better place because of that, because of the fact that you managed to survive abroad, you managed to, you know, have those international experiences, and that changed the way you looked at things happening this year. How about you, Nadia? What about that 2020, eh?
I was saying this to you earlier. 2020 has been a year of uncertainty, I think, for everyone. Like, majority of people I've spoken to, some people have been affected in terms of their employment. A lot of young people who have graduated, internships and placements that they have applied for have either been cancelled or postponed. So for me personally, I have just tried to adapt, and I think that's what everyone's done. Like Ruma, like what Jack said as well, I've kind of been indoors and trying to utilize that time by, you know, signing on to like online courses, things that I always said I would do, but I've never done. I actually decided to do now. And also, I think for me, keeping up with all the restrictions, because I traveled as well. As soon as the borders were open in June, I was out, went to Germany, and then traveled to Macedonia and Serbia. So that was very interesting, and meeting people and seeing how they're still quite positive. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, it seems like different countries are going through, you know, gloom and doom, but they're like, no, we're just getting on with life. And, you know, so I think for me also it's just okay, stop complaining. At least I can still move. At least I can still go out. At least I can travel. So, yeah, it's taught me that now no one knows what's next. So you just have to keep on adapting and have a plan B.
And you still did manage to do a fair bit of traveling this year. I remember.
Yeah,
I remember our meeting from, must have been one of my last meetings in March, and you were telling us about going to Niger with your dad.
Yeah, I'm going on Friday.
Are you going on Friday?
Yeah, I'm going on Friday.
Okay, which kind of brings me swiftly to my next question about, right, imagine the situation with the global pandemic clears. What is your plan for, you know, resuming your international experience? So Nadia, your plan is going to come into effect quite immediately, because this coming week you're going on that trip. Yeah. How has that been, having to postpone that and then, you know, doing it now? How has that experience been?
For me, it's been a bit annoying because I was supposed to go in August, but it was cancelled, and then it got pushed back, and then the airline kept on cancelling and had to reschedule. But finally now it's been confirmed, so obviously I'll be leaving. So for me, going to Niger, and I want to do some plans in terms of like young people over there and see what opportunities are out there for them, and also being able to see if I can have some type of connections with the youth over there and the youth in the UK. That's something that's in the pipeline, but it will be interesting to see how they are reacting to it, because obviously living over here, it seems like people are just getting on. So I would like to know how it's been over there and how people are reacting to the kind of global change.
Okay, how about you, Ruma? What are your international plans once we are out of the woods, so to speak?
I'm trying not to make any plans. I know it sounds really bad, but I feel like I'm just going to be disappointed if I make plans at this stage. So I'm just going to see how the world is in 2021 and what opportunities naturally come towards me. And if opportunities come towards me, then I'm going to say yes. But for now, I'm not seeking anything. I'm just kind of going along with the flow.
Okay, and Jack, what do you think about this sort of planning?
Similar to Ruma, really. So I think I've had a bit of sort of tunnel vision with it, in that I think, well, you know, we'll get through this, and then when it's over, I'll start having a look around again. So I think if it looks like it's going to sort of, you know, things might loosen up, which is, you know, is it going to be January? Is it going to be, you know, November next year? When I think things become a bit more clear, I'll start sort of making plans and such, especially since work's been so heavy. I've been unable to sort of book holidays off to actually go and do anything if I did want to. So, and sort of when things start becoming a bit more clear, when it looks as though, I mean, it's all about taking risks at the end of the day, really. But when it does seem that, that, you know, the sort of restrictions are going and that it is sort of, you know, safe to travel, really, well, more safe to travel. Yeah, I'll see what there is, and I'll try and, like I say, get out of the house. You know, whether it's saying yes to something in the UK, whether it's saying yes to something in Germany, just saying yes, really.
Guys, I want to ask you sort of one of the last questions. if you would like to share any of the upcoming projects that you have been maybe part of already in lockdown, and things that you look forward to doing, because you know that once that's going to resume, that's going to be a possibility. Nadia already touched upon the fact that you obviously traveling to Niger and, you know, sort of scouting the scene, looking at possibilities of working with young people there and, you know, creating links between Niger and the UK. Is there anything else you'd like to share with the audience?
So before the whole lockdown happened, I also want to get involved with a local community-based radio station that kind of helps the community, like with secondary schools and also like disadvantaged kids and like school kids, called Barnet TV. But that's been put on hold because no one really knows what's actually going on. So I've requested to be a part of that as well. In terms of projects, I do hope that there are, you know, different things with EuroPeers, whether that be another, for example, like a placement somewhere or even an international conference. I'm really like open. I really do love speaking to like young people, especially in secondary schools, because I think they're the main ones who are kind of thinking about what to do, whether they're going to go to college or whether they're going to go to university. So I would like to do something like with secondary schools with the young people there.
And in answer to your question, Nadia, there will be plenty of opportunities in 2021 with EuroPeers. Ruma, how about you? Any upcoming projects or recent projects you'd like to share with the audience?
I'm currently working on a project with EuroPeers. So I've been hired by them as a freelance writer to write stories or interview people and write stories about the wonderful work that they're doing in Barking and Dagenham. So there's a platform called Barking and Dagenham Giving, and there's a fund called Rapid Response Funding that people have in that area have applied for to help them continue doing the wonderful work that they do, or to go towards a project that they want to run during the lockdown. And a lot of this project have already taken place, and I've been assigning myself to people to interview and then writing their stories. And 2 days, on the 2nd of December, my first article got published. So that was great news for me. I'm just waiting for the rest of the ones that I've written to be approved. And it's been good news for me because I've actually been paid for doing this, which has helped me through the time that I haven't been working. And I'm excited because, well, I felt that I was growing during this process of interviewing and writing up stories. I got feedback from the editors, and I saw my work change. When I compare it to what I had the first draft to what it finally is when it's been published, I've seen the changes that's taken place, and I feel like I've learned something new through every piece that I've written, and I hope that I will continue to be a better writer.
Okay, this is going to be my final question. And it's to all of you, obviously. Again, how should organizations get young people motivated to get involved in the international activities? So I'm not just asking for us, I'm not just asking for EuroPeers UK or Momentum World. How do we get more people involved? What do we do?
So I think, especially in current times, I think young people are sort of pessimistic about current circumstances, you know, especially people that are undertaking A-levels that have had them put back, and same with GCSEs and such. I think people, I suppose that first thing is about sort of security, in that people are worried that if they get involved in something that, you know, it's going to be too busy or such. I think the idea to reiterate that, you know, if you get involved and you do a 6-week, you know, a 6-day project or something, and then you, at the end of it, the worst you can do is have spent 6 days doing something. The best you can do is have had a life-changing experience. Just the idea that, you know, the options are there. I think a lot of people will hopefully be looking for stuff to get involved in after sort of being locked away for so long. But I think it might be sort of an adjustment period, perhaps. People will have got into habits and they'll be used to doing things in the home. But like I say, I imagine most young people will be eager to get out of the house just like we are, and sort of wanting to get involved in things. And I think one of the key things that we've sort of touched upon earlier was that a lot of people don't really know about the opportunities. Mm-hmm. So I found out about this because of someone I knew, and I was only at that event where she told me about it because I got involved with the youth council through someone I knew. So I think it's very much, I think a lot of young people will want to get involved with these opportunities. Like I say, especially in current times when, you know, all right, I'm free now, I can go outside. What can I do? I think a lot of the opportunities, people don't see them. Even people that go looking for ones sometimes can't quite match up with the ones that are out there, because a lot of the time it is only sort of through word of mouth. And as much as, you know, we try and advertise things online and such, it can get lost in all the noise, especially when you're scrolling through your Facebook page and you're going through, you know, hundreds, thousands of posts a day, whatever. I think it can get lost in the noise. So I think just trying to ensure that it's connected with people better, because there will be people that want these opportunities. There will be people that are wanting to get involved, but finding, you know, connecting them with the opportunities is sometimes the issue there, I find.
Mm-hmm. I think, Nadia, you touched upon a very important point about going into secondary schools and getting the young people when they're young, getting their interest when they're young, and inspiring them, you know, when they're, you know, 15, 16, 17, on the verge of being able to fully experience those opportunities, you know, when they're reach 18 years old. Ruma, Nadia, do you have anything to add?
I agree with Jack in terms of many young people don't know where they need to go to get connected. They don't necessarily have the right information. I remember when I was younger, I felt like I had to earn the money and then join up with an organization and pay them to then for me to have the experiences that I wanted to. And when I thought it was too costly, I would just like take the risk of just going to the country myself and hoping that I will meet someone that I can trust and then see where it goes. But it's not something I'd encourage people to do, because that can be quite dangerous. It's about finding the right audience, and also about representation as well. Like if they can see that someone like themselves has gone ahead and had international experience, and they might be more motivated. I know people from my background, for example, they might not think it's really for them because they don't necessarily see someone that looks like them. But when I speak about it amongst my Muslim community, for example, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe your parents let you do that." I mean, most of them don't know that my parents don't care what I do. But like once they realize that I do travel by myself, and I go and do these go ahead and do these training opportunities and group work, it's made them realize that they can do it as well, and they just need a mentor, someone that will speak to their parents, or someone that will give them more information, someone that they trust, that will give them correct information to then.
A EuroPeer. You're talking about a EuroPeer. So
yeah,
people who have done it and then, you know, share their stories and then get others involved.
I always say, for example, wherever there's a crowd, that's where people will end up you just end up going there. So it's simple. Go to the youth clubs, go to the secondary schools, go to the colleges. For example, Erasmus Plus is mainly for people that come from either disadvantaged backgrounds or people who may be restricted because of finances. So universities, obviously, but they have Erasmus for themselves. So you go where you will find them. So for me, I was only researching and looking for opportunities. And when I came back, I heard about EuroPeers, and that's how I found out about them. So you really have to go where the young people are. We talk about social media, just like Jack said, there's so much information that you're just scrolling down, you're just bombarded with so many different organizations, so many opportunities, so that you can get lost in all of that noise as well. So what do? You use old-fashioned ways, go to where they are. Secondary schools, colleges, youth clubs, groups, societies, associations, that's where we need to go. That's where organizations need to focus their mind if they actually want to get young people interested in whatever they're doing.
And also local media outlets such as Chaos TV and Chaos Radio, because, you know, they reach out to specific communities and they can get the information through to them swiftly and accurately. Ruma, yes, what?
I just wanted to add as well, it would be quite good to inform parents as well, or to have the opportunities advertised in the mainstream media, whether it's an advert on a train or on the Guardian paper or something
on
like
the
that.
side of a bus even.
Exactly, because parents see these things and they're like, even if their kids are not interested, they're like, you got to do this. And then it's the parents that then encourage their children to go ahead and like help them through the steps. But yeah, like sometimes we don't know what opportunities are available for us, or we don't know what questions to ask because we don't know, like sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, and having your parents help you to understand things better can really help. So yeah,
that's a very interesting point that you made in terms of recruiting the young people to join these international opportunities, but also appealing maybe first of all to the parents so that they get on board first, and then through that channel you can convince the young people. Yes, Jack. Yeah.
I was just going to say sort of two more things came to mind. The first one is when we spoke about sort of where to go, that Nadia brought up, you know, schools and such. There are already organisations that are bringing together young people that want to get involved in things. So like you've got the sort of the Youth Council network, the British Youth Council, you've got the sort of NCS, you know, full of young people who are there because they want to get involved in things, they want to make a difference in their community, things like that. So if there's already these existing networks of young people that want to get involved in things, then it'd be worth tapping in and getting in contact with them to, you know, possibly advertise the opportunities. Because like I say, when I did NCS, that was when I was hyped up to get involved with other things. So if I'd have then been, you know, I touched base with the Youth Council during my time there and then get in touch with them, because that's where I found out about the work they actually did. And that's when I was in the mindset to want to get involved in things, because I was already doing stuff. I was feeling good because I was doing stuff and I didn't want it to stop. So then because they said, oh, there's this other opportunity, then I did that. And then when the Future Europe, Future You conference came around, I was still, you know, doing the Youth Council stuff. And so I went on to that. So it was a sort of natural progression for me. And I think if people are already in the mindset of, all right, I'm doing this, I enjoy it, I want to get involved in my community more, then they're much more likely to take up the opportunity.
Before we, met here today for this interview, I've asked you, and I hope that you remembered this, because I did send a reminder. I've asked you to bring an object of great significance to you, of personal significance to you, that perhaps you brought back home from a journey, from somewhere you've traveled to.
My object for this 2020, and because I was able to do bit more traveling because of, I was furloughed, was I met up with one couch surfer. So we met up in Belgrade, and he gave me a book called Expat Women's Tales of Traveling the World. And I was so excited. So we met up for coffee, and he said, oh, I went to the flea market and I saw this. And because I know that you love to travel and, you're very active and etc. So I got you this book. And yeah, it's been very interesting when I've had my coach and train trips when I was like dotting to different parts of Serbia. It's kept me company. So significance is expat, dreaming of my life.
It's sort of a revelation I got recently. It is my rucksack.
Okay.
Because essentially, I sort of realised a few days ago that my rucksack is always next to my room door. And that's because I'd never put it away, because I was always out and about. I was always going out and such. And I've realised over the past sort of couple of days that it's just been sat in front of my door. And it sort of has driven home how much I do enjoy going out and doing stuff. Whether it is sort of international opportunities, whether it's going and visiting the Peak District for a walk or such. But it's sort of driven me to, like I say, once this is sort of all over, just get out as much as I can. It really sort of drilled in how much I've been sort of not doing these things, and it reminded me how much I enjoy them. It sort of made me realise that once this is all over, I want to get involved as much as I can. And even now, to be honest, like you say, if you've got anything sort of online and such, send it over. So I just want to get stuck in, because I'm sort of fading out of the tunnel vision now, I think, and trying to get back into it.
Well, I've thought of something that is quite meaningful to me. I have to just get out of my memory box. It's a card that I got given by someone on the last day, just before I was leaving Portugal, or leaving a program that I was doing in Portugal, which Momentum World helped to organize. And it was a message that I wasn't expecting. I had gone through, there was an incident that took place while I was out there in Portugal that kind of hurt me. And this person identified that I was hurt. So she wrote some really nice things that I wasn't expecting. And I read it while I was on the plane, because she said, don't read it until you're like about to go home or you're at home. And I read it, and I was just so taken back by the thoughts and ideas that she had about me. And that started off a relationship I was not expecting to that I would continue nurturing. But it started it off, and we became pen pals. We would email one another, and we would write letters to one another as well. And I just feel like I know this is kind of old school, but I really like writing handwritten letters and sending it and then waiting for a letter to arrive, because it's just extra special when you get a letter and you know that that person has been thinking about you and has actually put in effort in writing out. And yeah, just the special personal touches makes a difference, and it's really brightens some of my days.
Yes, I just wanted to say a massive thank you for agreeing to be part of the first installment, the new installment of EuroPeers on Chaos TV and Chaos Radio. There'll be more shows to come, and the whole point of doing this is to obviously inspire young people, young audience, and perhaps the parents listening, you know, to find out about opportunities, which you can always do by visiting europeers.uk or the Momentum World website. You can follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can find out about these opportunities. EuroPeers UK have a great newsletter which comes out once a month, which all of you, I think, at some point have contributed content to. It's made by young people from the perspective of young people, so that we can share our stories and keep inspiring others to do the same, and, you know, applying our best abilities in terms of involving others. Okay, and the final word from all of you, and I'll start with Nadia. One final inspirational word for the audience.
In chaos, there's opportunities. Keep safe, and yeah, don't allow what's going on to dictate how you feel about yourself and about your future.
My advice is to be curious, ask questions, wonder about the world outside your bedroom, meet new people, don't be shy. And if you are a shy person, find different ways of communicating with people, because honestly, you start expanding, your mind starts expanding, your personality starts expanding, and you would see a transformation in yourself that you may have never thought was possible.
There's no harm in asking. You're going to lose absolutely nothing by inquiring about opportunities and what you can do. So ask, see what there is, look what there is available. And if you look at it and you think maybe it's not for you, then maybe it's not for you. But if you look at it and you think, yeah, actually, I want to know more about this, then look at it. What have you got to lose, really?